Mickey and Matt, yeah, they're cranking it up. Jumping down theories like a hyperactive pup. Rambo Joe lit the fuse, Dave said take control. Now we're broadcasting live above the rabbit hole. Ancient aliens, lizard kings, government plots and shadowy things. Laughing while they're chasing the truth in the dark. Are we crazy? Sure, but that's the spark. So smash that like button, buckle in tight. We're going down deeper than a cue drop tonight. 10-4 shining, the jokes are rolling. Hold on folks, the truth is scrolling. Yeah, smash that like button. Welcome to the show. We're live above the rabbit hole. Mickey's on the mic, dropping jokes like bombs. Matt's taking notes while he's reading the Psalms. Bigfoot, chemtrails, a man in black. Whatever you believe, it'll make you laugh back. Was it real? Was it staged? Was the moon landing fake? Ask the boys, they know the code. Or at least they'll improvise an episode. Smash that like button, let the madness roll. Welcome to the wild side. Above the rabbit hole.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to the world.
Yes.
It is so good to know that there are people watching us with sleep in their eyes because they've just woken up. And halfway around the world, there are people watching us
but after dinner
with flowers in their eyes because they're entering the twilight of their day or the night end of their day. What a fun show we're going to have today.
Super excited.
Yeah, joined by someone we met in Dallas who we both found to be very charming and very knowledgeable and really a cool person. We're going to get to the Kate awakening in just a little bit. One of the things, Matt, I wanted to say that the get-together last night at Hammer Jokes, best one ever.
Every Wednesday, Hammer Jokes, best one ever, huh?
It wasn't even close.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed it. What made it the best one ever?
Well, good amount of people showed up for the discussion, met some new people. I feel so bad. There's so many names. And everyone, please, I'm trying.
You don't have to remember it.
But I think there were two sisters there, and the one sister's husband, I think his name was David. I'm going to screw this up. I think...
What'd you do? You learned some new conspiracy theories?
Well, no, we did. It was interesting to hear, so we went around the room, and everybody got a chance to talk about their conspiracy, and a lot of them in the beginning kept coming back to religion. So for about 45 minutes we had a really cool, open, honest discussion about what Christianity means to people, what the Bible actually is. Like, there were a lot of different viewpoints, but all done with respect and an understanding that maybe all of what we're saying could possibly be true. We haven't figured out how to organize all the thoughts, but it was just wonderful. And then on top of that, to just see people be like, because the one girl's husband was not like, he's not completely woken up or whatever, but he was like, there's enough here to, I got to listen. And that's
everybody's listening. I'm seeing
what's happening.
I'm seeing like cute bumper stickers when I'm driving around now. And I don't know if that's like we were talking about yesterday. Is that my reticular activation system
part of it
looking at everything now because I'm talking about it? And
I think both are
thinking
true.
About it every day.
I think both are true. And I'll tell you,
or is it because people are everywhere?
Well, the lady that we're going to talk to, Kate, has an interesting perspective on this. I will let her talk about it if she wants, but I think this is pretty public, was single-handedly involved in the creation of one of the biggest non-networks there is out there, and, like any sort of thing you do with others, there's difficulties along the way and falling outs. And I don't know enough to talk about it. If she wants to, she can. If not, doesn't matter. The point is, I'm interested in her perspective about the amount of people starting to wake up.
Yeah.
Because she's been doing this for, 10 years or whatever it is. And today we're going to talk about her with Tartaria. I can't even. Tartaria.
I've heard it pronounced two ways. So Tartaria or Tartaria.
Yeah. Either way, that big piece of land over there that took up Russia and the middle of the Asia, all the way in, borderlining basically what is now Europe.
Well, I've
and
heard
into
even
some
the
of it.
United States,
Well, there's
bordering the United States, people think.
Well, there's a lot of, from what I'm gathering, a lot of that mindset and the lore is kind of adapted here. They believe that, you know what, let's not waste another moment because we could get corrected in a second. Let's bring the lady in that could possibly do that. Welcome to our show. It is Kate, the Kate Awakening. How are you, Kate?
I'm very tired.
Yeah. Don't worry about that. So are we. The good news is when you get off, it's going to be around, what would it be there? I guess 11 a.m.
Yeah.
For us, it'll be 2 p.m. So
Yeah.
we got to go straight to our nighttime and do other stuff. Kate, you've heard us talking a little bit. So let me back up. You are obviously a very long-term Anon. You were involved. And I mean, I'm going to say it from what I was told, not by you, by the way. I want to make that clear. I was told you were one of the most integral parts of what I know of as Badlands Media. I don't know anything about them. I don't know anything about them other than they have a lot of shows and it seemed to have a lot of followers. And I have no judgment. I don't know anyone there. Never met anyone. So I want to ask you, is that true? I mean, were you integral in building that conglomerate of shows over there?
Yeah, absolutely. But it goes back prior to that. I mean, I started doing shows, I think in 2018. That's when I found Q early on, February of 2018. And then I started posting stuff about it on Twitter, but I was being really kind of careful about what I was posting.
Yeah.
And then, I had a YouTube channel, started doing that. And then we just kind of you kind of break off in these groups and you find your people and you start working together. And it just kind of naturally came together. We started something else called We the Media to start when everyone got kicked off of Twitter.
Right.
And, as we got kicked off of things left and right on the internet, we just started to reconvene in these different areas and work together and whatever. But yeah, I mean, I've been in this for a while. That was my complete and total awakening. I was totally asleep before that. So I know there are people that have been awake for a lot longer. And I can't imagine what that was like because, you guys were talking about how many people are growing up. In the area that I live in, I see Q bumper stickers at least once a week. They're everywhere where I am.
That's amazing.
Especially where you are, because you're out there on the West Coast, right?
Right. But I'm in Arizona. So it is a little bit, I mean, it's red and whatever, but and for a long time, I've been seeing
California. Yeah.
What?
I don't know why I thought you were in California for some reason.
I'm from California, but I've lived in Arizona for since 2017.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought you were still in LA. I guess I took your phone number for granted is what happened. I took your phone number for granted. Yeah.
I've had that phone number since 2000, I think, or 2001. The amount of spam I get is absolutely ridiculous, but I'm a creature of habit. I'm not changing my phone number. So
Kate, I know that Dave and Joe and the other people that kind of brought us in have a great deal of respect for you. Therefore, I give you that respect unquestioned.
That's a terrible idea.
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is because I think those guys seem to be, from everything I understand about it, credible themselves.
Yeah.
They look at the entire community with open arms.
Yes.
And they look at brilliant people as nothing more than brilliant people. It doesn't matter any more than that. You're brilliant. You belong at the table. So now that we have started that conversation, let's go here. What do you attribute the speed of what we're seeing happening in the mainstream? Is it the Epstein files from that? I mean, to me, it is. It's Charlie Kirk and then the Epstein files back to back where people went, what the is going on around here?
Yes, but I mean, I think it's been exponentially growing for a long time. I think that COVID had a lot to do with it because that was something that touched people's lives personally. The children were always going to wake a lot of people up once that started to become mainstream, because how can you not care about that? But I think when it touches people's lives personally, that's when they're like, okay, now I care. Now I'm going to get up and I'm going to do something about it. Or now I'm going to start paying attention. And also that a lot of people were at home and for the first time they had time to dive into these things.
Yeah.
So I think that was, I mean, there have been, for a lot of people, 9/11 was the thing.
Yeah, sure.
And ever since then, it has been just ramping up. It only gets faster, and the people that are waking up now, I think, are waking up faster, more efficiently, because they have more resources in a way. Like when
Bingo.
what?
Bingo, you just hit it. And that's what you guys did.
Well, you're right. See, I would have guessed Epstein Files too, but you're right, Kate. It was probably COVID and people did have time. And how many shows launched in 2020 during COVID? Everybody started a YouTube channel back in the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
And Kate, to even further emphasize your point, the people like yourself and the other Anons back then early, see why this is happening so much faster. And I don't think the Anons really understand what they did. You did all the work. See, you had these questions 10 years ago. These Anons had these questions. You guys went and found the answers. So what's great for normies now, we show up with the same questions. You guys have the answers ready to go. Where before, one of you guys had to take 2 weeks and dive into a keyboard and go through documents and track things and wait for results. And now the answers are being presented as the questions are asked because of the performance of you and the people before you.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that made it a lot easier back then than I think it is now, is that at the time, sorry, I'm letting my dog in.
Do your thing. You got a dog.
Yeah, I have a dog.
I appreciate the way you just abandoned the show for your buddy.
I'll do it all the time. Listen, you say something I don't like, I'm out of here.
Go to commercial, boys. My dog needs something. I love you for it. Go ahead, Kate.
So in the beginning, people didn't do shows about it, and you didn't have influencers talking about these online. People, we were convening in 8chan, 4chan, whatever, where everything was being open sourced. Everybody was collectively working together to dive into things. And something that was really great about that is because it's completely anonymous, it wasn't about ego and it wasn't about branding, and people would just be balls to the wall saying whatever, because now even the most there's a lot that happens when people's jobs are on the line with it, when it becomes your livelihood, now there might be things that you don't say or won't touch because it might be bad for the brand or whatever. But in the beginning, there was none of that. It was just open source digging. And that was really great. I mean, there are great things about both, and there are drawbacks to both. But for me, I'm glad that I woke up then and during that time when it was just about digging, and it wasn't about trusting anybody. It wasn't about, it wasn't about trusting anybody or like finding your sources. We were just kind of like realizing we'd been lied to and then just collectively finding each other.
Do you think the movement's in good hands right now?
I think the fact that it would be in anybody's hands is a major problem.
Well,
I think the point is that it should be in no one's hands. I think the point is that, I mean,
about all of our hands.
Right. Yes. Yeah. It should be in all of our hands.
Right. I didn't mean somebody taking the lead and telling us what to do. I more meant shows like, I hope this one that just says to people, hey, this stuff is happening. You go find out for yourself. I'm not preaching to anyone. I'm just saying, go look at this.
We've been lucky to be in a community like that, though. I mean, the people that we've talked to and we've met so far are not saying this is how it is. It's more.
Some do, but I get what you're saying.
Most of them, I feel like, come from the I'm probably, you guys probably know more than I do on this subject, but here's what I think. It seems to be the attitude anyway.
Absolutely. And of course, there are a lot of people doing, there are a lot of people doing excellent work. But there are also, I don't know, are they infiltrators? I don't know, but of course there are going to be infiltrators. Of course, there are going to be people that rise to a state of popularity because that's easy to do in an information war when there are resources behind you to make you appear huge, and then people follow along. And there are always going to be those limited hangouts where people deliver 95% of awesome truth and 5%, bull. So
Yeah.
So you always have to stay frosty, and you but yeah, there are a lot of really awesome people that, I mean, most people are honest and are doing work. You just have to be really careful because there are those people who are trying to commandeer what
Yeah,
it is.
well, let me ask you this. So, I feel like if you go out and you watch some of these people who are mainstream commentators before, you look at like Candace Owens and various people.
Tucker.
Yeah, and it's
Ben.
it's very obvious to me now that they're watching the people in the Q world to get some information and deliver that mainstream. Do you feel that, or do you, and how do you feel about it if so?
The way I feel about it is if they were, well, I mean, like, I'm not knocking them, but I was always very surprised. If I was a serious journalist at the time, I would have been paying attention to us a long time ago. And the fact that they weren't, and the fact that they were kind of just dancing around the periphery and not really going there for a really long time, and the fact that they were able to not only maintain their accounts, but grow their accounts, like crazy, while the rest of us were booted off the same platforms for saying the same things, makes me kind of wonder. I'm glad that they're paying attention to these things now, but I'm not, so in some ways,
You worry about their intent.
I guess, like, it shouldn't matter. Like, somebody's intent shouldn't matter if we're not like continuing the paradigm of being followers. In some ways, I feel like we've gone from the frying pan into the fire because we just so badly want to have people we can trust to tell us what's going on. And
Look,
once we stop doing that and realize that people are just people, and you can appreciate somebody's content, you can appreciate what they're putting out there without being a follower.
I totally agree with you, Kate. I would like to take it one step further, and just with you especially. Matt will tell you this. I have championed the female voice in this movement from the beginning. Have I not, Matt?
Sure.
I think it's very important.
Yeah, we both have.
And yeah, I should say that we have, right?
Yeah.
I just say it out loud. I'm kidding, buddy. I'm kidding. But no, the truth is, Kate, I think women bring an interesting perspective, because I think men naturally have a little more of a competitive, sort of childish, I'm better than you mentality. And I think women more of the times go, that's why you hear boys will be boys. There's a part of us that still go, yeah, my dick's bigger than yours, so I win the argument. I don't think women really do that. And every time I've listened to women explain this stuff, I never hear them go, well, because I told you. Like, that sort of forced doctrine approach to this, I think, is what damages some of it, like you had mentioned earlier. But I just think women have a better chance of hitting men, especially psychologically, because of their approach to it. And that's why I'm really interested in having ladies like yourself, Paula, who we had on yesterday, who was amazing. There's plenty of women that have brilliant thoughts and stories. And I just think that their story sometimes resonates with newbies more. Because it's less alpha, it's less military sort of, go beat everybody's ass, which you hear me, I'm guilty of it. I think it's part of who we are. So it's wonderful to hear it spoken about from a different perspective.
I'm laughing because that's literally how I got red pilled and found out about Q. Is I couldn't have been listening to a bigger dick measuring fest. I was listening to like these three podcasters. I don't remember who they were. Good. Watching an MMA fight, giving commentary about the MMA fight, and then one of them was literally talking about how Trump was saving the world and like military takedown and the deep state's going down, whatever. That's what red pilled me. So that obviously spoke to me. Yeah. But I mean, I think you're right. From my perspective, the majority of this community are women.
Yeah, it's weird. I say it all the time. Like, when I went to Dallas, it's like 4-1 women.
Yeah, and a lot of
it just comes down to knowledge. I mean, a lot of them, I found in Dallas, a lot of the people, I should say, not just women, but women and men that we met there, are just as knowledgeable as a lot of the guys that have podcasts.
Dude, that lady that took us to Dallas, Lisa. Having a conversation with her, no matter what topic came up, she knew enough about it, and the way she explained it, there was no like, I don't know you. Yeah. I hear things different from female perspective, we've talked about this off air, Matt. And I think it's why we could go down the road on this feminine thing, but I don't want to do that. I do want to get back to you and your association with the movement, because you did have a big voice, and I think still do. Are you planning on doing? What do you plan on doing with your knowledge, your talent, all of it? What do you want to do, Kate? Where are you taking this?
That's a great question. I don't know. I mean, I've always just kind of felt like I'm here to help, and I'll kind of gravitate towards what I feel at the time is where I can do the most good or where I can help out. So I just want to show up. Part of me for a long time felt like one of my roles was going to eventually be, when some of this darker stuff comes out, like the Epstein files, that, I mean, psychologically, what that does to people, there's a lot of trauma involved in waking up. It's not all, fun and games. It's not like some of the rabbit holes. That's why I like Tartaria, the topic of Tartaria, so much, is because,
and we will get to that today, I promise.
Because it's like a lighter, I mean, even though the implications of it are like massive, it is a lighter kind of.
Yeah, you're not talking about torturing children.
Exactly. It's a palate cleanser from stuff like that. But when people start to wake up and realize that they've been lied to about everything, and it can put people in a dark place. And so when I went through that, we call it the dark night of the soul. When I went through that, that's kind of when I started my channel to take people with me. And I've always felt passionately about being there for people during that time. I really don't know. I mean, I know that I want to help. I am just more interested in some of the, I don't know if you want to call it goofier stuff, like the Mandela effect and timeline changes and what they're doing at CERN.
You're making a great point, Kate, because I've been saying this for so long now. In my way of understanding it, I describe all of it as a giant spider web. And we've all seen a giant spider web, right? But when you really start to focus in on the center of it, which, by the way, is what holds all these other way out here pieces together. So when that spider's weaving its web, it just gets wider and wider and wider. But you realize when you go backwards, it all comes back to this one central core thing. And I think, like you're mentioning, when you mention the outlier stuff, it's a very easy way to start understanding the framework of the bigger picture. Of the corruption, of the evil.
I mean, you saw the Great Awakening map that I found. I don't know who created it. I think there's several of them. But you look at it and you realize how much of this stuff is actually connected, even though you can go deep into the earth, into these rabbit holes on each thing, and probably tangents on each thing. But it does all seem to have like a thread of connection between them all.
Absolutely. Yeah. There was the Great Awakening map. I met the guy that made that. I can't remember what his name is. And then there was a Q map that was also really interesting. Kind of the same that was made by a guy named Dylan. Those things, I mean, those are really great tools because you see it. I'm a very visual person, and you're just like, oh my gosh, the fact that this is, and there are some things that are going to pop out at you as like, oh my gosh, like, yes, of course that's connected. And then there are going to be things that you're like, well, I've never heard of that before, so I want to look into that. Everything, like if truth exists, right? And pretty sure it does, then it exists. And every path will lead you to there eventually, as long as you're seeking. It doesn't matter what woke you up, what angle that you're coming from. It doesn't matter whether it's like health and vaccines and COVID. It doesn't matter whether it's the political stuff. It doesn't matter whether it's like hidden technologies, hidden history. All of that stuff eventually convenes in the center, which is the truth. And so that was what was so great about the Q operation, is that it was like this crash course in all of these different topics. That brought it all together, and it did kind of teach us how everything was connected. And really, it's just one conspiracy, right? All conspiracies lead to one.
That's center of the web. I agree. All right, well, let's get into it, because some people in the chat room don't have enough intellect to listen to a 20-minute conversation. So we can. No, I'm serious. These people piss me off. Like, they run the show. Like, it's crazy to me.
They're excited about the topic.
No, they're not. Nick. They're judgmental pricks that don't want to hear anything about anybody else.
You.
I'll tell you how dare me. It's the truth. Now, so let's talk about Tartaria or Tartaria.
I've heard it pronounced both ways. How do you pronounce it, Kate?
I say Tartaria. It's, you can say Tartaria. It's all Grand Tartary. Whatever.
What is it?
So Tartaria is a nation that existed on maps from, from basically the like medieval times until the 19th century, I think. So, and different maps have it in different places, but it always appears massive. Like it goes into Asia, Russia. Some maps even show it going into North America. It's kind of like this whole northern hemisphere is Tartaria. And I've heard people say that, oh, that's just what they called areas that were not, that weren't defined yet or whatever. But if you look at old encyclopedias, for example, you'll find not just maps of Tartaria, you'll find the flags of Tartaria. There are two of them. One's a dragon, one's an owl. You'll find the fashions of Tartaria, the emperor of Tartaria. You'll find currency from Tartaria.
Really?
Yes. So,
Wow.
No, I mean, I will go on record as saying I believe Tartaria was a real. I mean, it was a real.
Do we
thing.
know? Was there some people refer to it as an empire? Was there a king or a leader or an emperor that is known that was, ruling over this land?
So you can find, depictions of what that will say, like Emperor of Tartaria or whatever. The other thing about it is when you find they're drawings at the time, because obviously there was not photography, but it appears to be a kind of a multicultural empire where you had people who looked like they were of Asian descent, white, European, even like African descent. And so culturally it was kind of this mixed thing, and which is interesting.
Yeah.
But I think what Tartaria kind of leads you to, because we know that it was erased, right? And map makers are pretty, I mean, they're scholars. They take what they do very seriously. When there are changes to the boundaries of a nation, they document it and they document why. But all of a sudden, all of these maps went from having this nation to just not having it.
And a lot of them use source maps as well. They'll look back at older maps, right, to kind of figure things out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But, suddenly this just disappears, and with no documentation as to why that is. Now, there is at least one CIA document that discusses it and basically talks about, you can do a search cia.gov and Tartaria, and it will pull up this document. I don't know if you want to pull up my screen really fast. We'll just look at this, and then we can take it away. So I took the screenshot of it. This article is called "The National Cultural Development Under Communism," and it was something that was written in 1957, and I think it was declassified like in 1999. But anyway, they're basically talking about communism and the transgressions of Russia. And they say, or let us take the matter of history, which, along with religion, language, and literature, constitute the core of people's cultural heritage. Here again, the communists have interfered in a shameless manner. For example, on 9 August 1944, the Central Committee of the Communist Party, sitting in Moscow, issued a directive ordering the party's Tartar Provincial Committee to proceed to a scientific revision of the history of Tartaria, to liquidate serious shortcomings and mistakes of a nationalistic character committed by individual writers and historians in dealing with Tartar history. In other words, Tartar history was to be rewritten. Let us be frank, was to be falsified in order to eliminate references to Great Russian aggressions and to hide the fact of the real course of Tartar-Russian relations. So we've always known that the victors write history, right? So this is an example of that, and very odd, right? You can take that away. We don't have to read the rest of that, but
so that's the thought of motive for it all. It was to kind of hide the ugly parts of their history.
Well, that doesn't make sense to me as to the massive scale of what actually happened here. This seems like it was just a piece of it or something. But really, the rabbit hole of Tartaria is not so much about this nation that disappeared. It's more about the rabbit hole leading to a civilization, a lost civilization that really inhabited the planet at the time. These people had technology and abilities that were far more advanced than what we have today. And historians will tell us, oh no, they did that with chisels and donkeys and
Yeah.
and
Hey, right there, Matt, do me a favor. Details B picture. I want some detail of the picture. It's the bottom row. Your third one, right there. Bring that up. I want. Okay. This is a close up of a photo I got. And then this is 500 and 600 years old, right?
Mhm.
I need people to understand something. Like Kate just said, this face, this image, this ornament repeats itself around the building over 400 times. And it's an identical representation every time.
Yeah.
There's no tool marks. There's no missing parts of it. Every circle, every crown, every dot.
What are we
matches.
looking at? What is this from?
I don't have the literature here. This is from a Gothic building, I believe around 15 to 1600, and it was in Asia, and it was part of what is now considered, I think, to be part of the Baltic states. One of those, but these are all through Europe.
So how does this link to Tartaria? Is there a specific way this links
was
to that? You mean
this was in the area that Kate's talking about, that
built during the time period?
Built during that time period, obviously.
Yeah.
And well, the point she's making, and I totally agree with, how do simple people do this with not great detail? I get how people, but it's literally perfect.
Well,
humans are not perfect. We're not.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So if you want to bring up my screen again, I'll kind of take you through. So it's not just an area. The whole point is that somehow these civilizations on every single continent had these buildings that had the same ornate structure, domes, spires, all of this stuff, literally on every continent other than Antarctica, which maybe they're there too. Who knows?
And they all have strangely copper, brass needles at the top.
Right. So
which conducts electricity, by the way.
Right. Like if you look at a Tesla tower, that building on the right there, that looks like a Tesla tower.
Without a doubt.
So, this picture in particular is just kind of, to me, where I'm just looking at the level of how ornate these buildings were. They were mathematically precise in every single way. They've been standing for hundreds of years. Now, we were told that these were constructed sometime during the 19th century in a matter of 5 years, when they had a population.
The 1890s, all these buildings just appeared.
Right. And it's interesting that they use the word founded, right? Oh, it was founded in this, or construction ended at this time. But there's very little in ways of documentation about the construction of these buildings. And when you look at the population of the supposed population at the supposed time when these buildings were built, not only would it take every man, woman, and child to be working on these buildings, but they would all have to be artisans. I remember when I had my house was built in 2017. I have smooth plaster on my walls, which it was something that I really wanted. And I had to pay a buttload to have that done because it has to be done by artisans. That's smooth plaster.
Yeah.
So
you think about the statue, the David statue, the Da Vinci statue that was created in the 1500s, I think. And there's a lot of detail in that. But what do you have to have? You got to have, a population of Da Vinci's to create a building like that.
Without a doubt, yes. Right? But like Kate's saying earlier, she said there's a belief, and the lore of this was that these people were advanced knowledge. They understood things about the earth that maybe was taken from us and hidden from us. This is all about, in my eyes, this is all about forbidden knowledge.
I was going to say, so where do we think all this knowledge? There had to be books, and this knowledge had to be stored somewhere, right? I should let you continue, Kate, but these are just random questions that are popping up as we
Well, so first I'll just take you through some of these buildings all over the world, Washington, D.C. Oh, that was something I started I literally started slapping this together this morning. London, Paris, St. Petersburg, Florence, India, Melbourne.
All
Yeah.
built
Cuba.
relatively in the same time period, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we don't really know.
What
You know,
we're told, like the Vatican, for instance, like the Vatican building.
So there are no records that tell you when these buildings were built.
no, there are, but they're not detailed, and they'll
Right.
you know, what they say makes absolutely no sense. Like I said, with the population at the time, the capabilities at the time. I mean, we're told that these people literally were living in huts with donkeys and chisels and dirt roads, and they built this. You
Yeah.
know,
In the middle of nowhere.
I mean, Japan, China, like literally, um, every single continent. So, uh, these are the ideas, like some of the theories behind these, obviously, free energy. When we look at Tesla towers, that some of these things were used um, to electrify cities. And there are some beliefs that these cathedrals were actually built as the resonance, the healing resonance. And, you know, again, they've taken the bells out of a lot of these. Why did they do that? Oh, there's something I wanted to show you up here. There was a really interesting video that I came across one time. Okay, so this picture right here, this kind of flower window that's very common in a lot of these old cathedrals.
Yeah.
There was a woman who used to take sound equipment into these cathedrals, and she would record the resonance, like the specific frequency that each of these cathedrals have, and she would use cymatics to create a design of what the resonance, you know, every resonance, a symbol has every sound has a symbol in cymatics, and the cymatics of the resonance would match the I think it's called, is it the flower of life or whatever it is?
The flower of life. Yes.
In these windows.
Into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not kidding. Yeah.
Of course, it's sacred geometry, right?
Right. Exactly. So sacred geometry. So was there these, I think the point is that these people clearly were more advanced than us in many different ways. We cannot today replicate what they did, not with all of our technology, not with all of the manpower that we have today. We can't make these things, and history just wants to tell us, oh, you know, they just had a really good work ethic and some elbow grease.
Yeah.
So is there a hypothesis, like, of how they think they made these? I mean, it was some kind of technology, but do they know? Have they guessed how they made these things?
Well, there are lots of theories, right? So, I mean, I didn't pull a picture of this, and I can't remember where exactly it is, but I know everybody's seen the cathedral built into the mountain, right? It's the facade of it is literally built into the mountain. It looks like it was carved out of the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's God, I know.
Yeah,
I know the name. I'm
it's
drawing.
gonna drive me nuts. But
Yeah.
anyway, sound frequencies. I mean, to me, like I'm really big into alchemy and all of those things. When you understand how matter works, and that matter is not matter, everything is just energy. If you know how to manipulate energy, then you know how to manipulate matter. So is it possible that they had technologies that manipulated matter in ways that we can't do today? I mean, even down to the pyramids. We still don't know how they built the pyramids.
People think
Right.
that about the Egyptians as well. Yeah.
Right. And I think there's a place, I think it's called Coral Island off of Florida, where a man has built these incredible structures, he says, using sound resonance, where he's moved these heavy objects you know, into places. And so there are some theories about that's perhaps how they were doing it. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people think that you know, there's new discoveries underneath of the pyramids. I mean, they found, you know, deep structures underneath the Giza Plateau. A lot of people think there's also a labyrinth under there somewhere in Egypt as well. A lot of people think that's where they kept, it was a library. It's where they kept ancient knowledge from a civilization that was long ago and destroyed or killed somehow.
Or left.
Yeah, and that the only people that used to be allowed down there were the pharaohs and the priests,
The gatekeepers.
Yeah.
I think they found another Sphinx also, right? And everything is with precision. Everything is mapped out with precision. I mean, even the locations of these buildings, a lot of them, or I think most of them, are on ley lines, and then they face a particular direction. These people knew things that we're just kind of finding out about now.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when you play into these other conspiracies, for lack of a better word, thoughts, you start to understand the pattern, which is that there's something different than what we've been told every time. The truth is always different. Then you find out those that probably made the changes to the truth are the people that were controlling societies at the time. So then you have to ask yourself, I think you back up again and you say, okay, why would they not want the people that their subjects to benefit from this? And it's because those people are evil. Evil is selfish. Evil is cryptic.
But are they using this tech? Do you think they're using this technology to benefit themselves in some way?
The keepers of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1,000%.
What do you think they're doing with it?
I think we do it. I think we have our government. I think governments all over the world have the secret knowledge, and they haven't been able to figure out how to explain to us how much we were actually screwed over by what the oligarchs or whatever you want to call them throughout history have done to us. That the thing I think that Kate Rambo talks about, Dave, the amount of emotional sort of tidal wave that's going to hit people, like everything I thought was fake. Can you imagine that realization? We live it every day. We wake up and we go, that shit ain't even real, right? We deal with it. But when the masses find this out, that, yeah, electricity's free. And you know what's weird? There's the discovery of gasoline all around the same time, right? Late 19th century, gasoline starts becoming the power source of the world, right? It's just weird, man, that they had free energy.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So it could be a money thing in that way.
It's always a money thing.
Do we know that? Did they stop building any buildings like this? Did they all come to a stop at a certain point? This kind of architecture.
Well, I mean, there are still buildings that are into the 20th century, early 20th century. They were still kind of nothing of this level, right? Nothing of this ornate level with the sculptural whatever, but the same kinds of buildings. But most of these buildings have been, I mean, really, none of us were alive then, and so we don't really know when they say a building was founded on this date. Founded, was that actually built then? You know, there's a lot of revision of history, and so there's some really good channels that go in and dig into that stuff, and will look up the population of when they say this building was built, and it makes absolutely no sense. There was something you were saying before about you know, why would they do this, and why, if these powers that be, if they have these kinds of capabilities or they know of them, are they really just kind of like playing with their food with us? And that kind of leads into something interesting that I'm fascinated in, which is why are they playing with our food, or is there something to this where they actually still need us? And now we're learning a lot more about consciousness, and a lot more of quantum physics that's telling us that consciousness might have an effect on the reality, the matter that we see around our world.
Sure.
And, you know, with things like D-Wave computer, the founder of the D-Wave computer has said things like he was, that they're using these D-Wave computers, these quantum computers that are so powerful, they have to be kept in storage of, I think it's like, I can't even remember the unit of whatever, but it's colder than outer space is what these computers have.
They're beyond frozen.
I just read something about that, actually. Yeah.
Right, because they're so powerful. Like they are so much more powerful that they make the quantum computers that came before them. I mean, it would take them 10,000 years to compute what these computers are computing in an instant. And you know, that on top of how we are understanding how particles work now and matter, and that things operate as a wave until they are interacted with, you know, or observed, and then they collapse into matter. And so if they're so the founder of it said that they are using these D-Wave computers to go into parallel timelines to pull back resources.
Is that kind of like the looking glass?
Well, yeah, I mean, so Looking Glass is gonna be a little bit so I don't really Looking Glass, you have yellow cube technology. I believe those were maybe some type of quantum computer, some kind of technology that could predict the future to a certain degree
Mhm.
of certainty. And so you're plugging in all of these variables and you're saying, okay, what are the potential outcomes? And I think Q kind of told us that at some point, no matter what they were plugging into these, or what, no matter what they were, no matter what, the outcome was not their desired outcome. And so they were trying to figure out a way to subvert what was destined to be, I guess, which is, God wins, the light, whatever, the light is always going to win. It's game theory. But I think, when hearing that him say that they're going into these parallel timelines to pull back resources, so they're admitting that multiple timelines exist. Is it possible that the quantum computer can figure it out, but they need human consciousness to pull it in, which is partially why we see what we see. We are fed what we're fed because our consciousness is keeping us in these loops. What they're feeding us on these screens is feeding our conscious to create the reality that we live in. So that's all very fascinating.
Have you
Yeah,
guys
no, I
seen,
love that stuff.
have you
Go ahead.
guys, I can't remember if it was Cambridge or Oxford or it was a British, well-respected university, and a professor took a group of students, an entire whatever semester or whatever, to rebuild Stonehenge with what we believed was capable, available to them back then. They couldn't get one stone raised. They could not. The smartest people in the
Well,
world.
no, I mean, the same thing with Egypt. You talk about those blocks, and they had copper tools back then, and
Right.
it's impossible.
My argument to the people who say they just did it, like Kate said earlier, they had nothing but time. They were slaves. They were told what to do. Okay,
Well, I'm just
so
going to
you're saying
ask,
10,000 people were perfect artisans.
what is the mainstream narrative for these buildings, though, Kate? Do you know?
Sorry, what is the what?
What is the mainstream narrative about how these buildings were built? I mean, how all these ornate things were carved into buildings.
Elbow grease, baby.
Literally,
Donkey?
that's the theory.
Yeah, it is. And so that don't make no sense. Just like everything. But it's like, don't believe your lying eyes.
How long would that actually take? Even a team of people doing that.
A team of artisans so skilled at what they do that we don't have anybody on the planet that can do it.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
if,
Michelangelo.
even if you look at modern, what we call masterpieces,
mhm,
they're simple structures in their design.
yeah.
Now they're able to build them really high and grand, but they're not. Dude, when's the last time you walked up to a modern building and went, "Oh my God, look at the detail. Look at the artistry. Look at the wonderment that's before you."
And
We don't do that.
think about what that does to human psyche also when you have, I mean, looking at these buildings that we were just looking at, there's something inspiring about them. That's why, I mean, I'm not a fan of modern art. I think if you have to be cerebral about it, if your heart doesn't sing when you look at something and you have to use your mind to be like, is it art though?
Right.
Then it's not art, because art is a connection to God. Creation is a connection.
The banana duct tape to the wall.
Exactly.
Right.
It's all,
Right.
that's all, I mean, that's all money laundering and whatever.
Yeah.
But like the whole brutalism movement of architecture and the way that you feel when you look at those buildings, just it's cold. You feel small, you feel gross, not small in the way these make you feel small, but in a magnificent way. It doesn't make you feel
grandiose, bigger than you way.
it's a connection to God. You're like, oh
Agreed.
yes, you feel your humanity when you look at these things. And so to completely get rid of all of this beauty, I mean, they knock these things down all the time, which brings me to another kind of rabbit hole with this is the World's Fairs. And the World's Fairs were supposedly, they just built these immense, immaculate, beautiful cities that were the most beautiful cities the world has ever seen. And they built them in 2 years, and they had waterways and aqueducts and, entire buildings made out of glass, and they were just temporary. So they just had them, and then they just tore them all down. And some of those buildings still exist, and they've turned them into libraries and whatever. Some of them still exist, so we know they weren't made out of paper mache. They were actual structures. But they supposedly, so the belief is that the World's Fairs were actually used to cover up. So it goes into this whole thing like a great reset of civilization that happened sometime around the end of the 19th century, which is wild because that's so recent.
Yeah, recent. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I
if
think
you really, Kate, if you go back through written history, it's about every 100 to say 200 years that we do have a minor reset. And that usually happens because of a controlling force. You know, for the most of the Middle Ages, it was a combination of Rome into England, and they dominated all of Europe. The Bank of London and the Vatican just dominated Europe. And while I think the knowledge was there, the knowledge didn't benefit either the Bank of London or the Vatican. In fact, it stood in direct contrast of what both of those things stood for. So it's in their interest, those with the money, the power, the influence, to change the historical advancement so that they can maintain control. And maybe what we're finally seeing is someone in Trump, or whatever you want to call this thing, whoever's leading it truthfully, has just said, yeah, no, we're not going away this time. We have all the answers. We have the proof that you lied. We have the proof that you stole our history, that you stole humans' history, not American, not English, human history. You know, I was talking to somebody very recently who said, you know, Christianity kind of stops a little short of what humans could be actually capable of. And there's a lot of truth in that. And I think when you combined the message of what Christianity is, what Jesus told us, to love each other, with the knowledge of some of these other cultures and societies and religions that understood humanity in a way that Jesus did, but they had knowledge perhaps that Jesus didn't. And when you put all this together, there's where we're starting to find enlightenment.
I mean, Jesus.
Go ahead, Kate.
Sorry, Jesus said, "You will perform these miracles and more."
Yes.
So he was telling us that we didn't even understand our own capabilities. And of course, his message was delivered for the time at which it was delivered.
Yes.
These people that he was delivering these messages to were very, very different from our human consciousness. They were more animalistic. They were more tribal because that was just the way that it was. And, you know, the idea of compassion and empathy and all of that was revolutionary. You know, so he was delivering the message for the time, but I do think that he was letting us know in some ways that we don't even know what our own human bodies and minds are capable of.
Yeah,
correct. And it is, Matt, I think we've talked about this at a spiritual, psychological, philosophical level, not religious, but at a spiritual and psychological level. Those teachings of calm and love allow you, I think, to allow your mind to accept the fact that you are capable. And I think that's been the great cover-up of history.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about, you read in the Bible that Jesus went into the garden to pray.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I don't believe that he went in there to do Hail Marys and not that those were around at the time, but Hail Marys and Our Father.
Hail my mother.
He was meditating. He was going within,
course.
And he was, connecting with himself, essentially, in the universe, I guess you could say.
You know, I never spent 40 days in a desert. I've did.
Spent 7 years in a desert. So,
well, metaphorically, though, I just spent the last 15 years of my life on an island, psychologically, figuring shit out. And when I finally got away from everything and everyone and went and just got my mind clear, everything started to kind of make sense. If I just stopped listening to noise and started listening to my own inner feelings, I can accept certain things. Humans are capable of greatness more than we ever realized. We measure our own greatness in tangible things: buildings, money, food, weaponry. Look what we built. Look what we did. We did it. We did. Imagine what we could do with that abilities together.
Well, and I mean that it comes down to consciousness, and I believe that Jesus was even letting us know or trying to let us kind of started to open the door with understanding consciousness. And a lot of people think that these buildings also were built, the technology is us. The consciousness can build these things. It's kind of like musical instruments are all designed to mimic the ultimate instrument, which is the human voice. Humans are incredible technology in themselves. And I'm bad at quoting scripture, but there is something about what's the thing about the mustard seed, that just the faith of a mustard seed, if you want to move the mountain, it takes the faith of the mustard seed. And a lot of people see that as, if you have just the tiniest little bit of faith, then you should be able to perform these miracles. But I kind of look at that as something different. When I think of a mustard seed, I'm not thinking of the size of it. I am thinking about the fact that a mustard seed has one purpose in life. And within the mustard seed lays the problem and the solution, the power to, everything is contained within that seed. Everything that is needed to make that mustard plant is contained within that seed. And so was he more saying that it's about the single-minded focus? The mustard seed isn't worried about being a sunflower or a willow tree. It is the single-minded focus of that mustard seed that just has everything that it needs within itself to do the thing that it needs to do. So I think there is a lot of interesting, when you look at it that way and you look at some of the things that Jesus said about, about everything, to weave in consciousness and the capabilities that potentially we have.
Yeah. And you go back to things that were discovered, supposedly from Egyptian culture, I guess, or pre-Egyptian culture, I should probably say. You look at stuff like the Kabbalion and like the Hermetic principles, and they all talk about consciousness and vibration. And this is all supposedly ancient knowledge that was kind of kept for the elites of their time as well.
Yeah, all is mind, right? Well, I really do think because these tools are potentially so powerful, I think you have two factions. You have a light faction and a dark faction, for lack of a better, term, that are both keeping these secret, because the dark obviously wants to keep it so that they can use it against us, and they use it for their own benefit. And the light keeps these things a secret because in the wrong hands, they can be catastrophic. It's just like anything that is powerful. You give a microwave to somebody who doesn't know how to use it and not to put metal in it, and they're going to blow up their house.
Kate, can I, if I may, in the middle of what you're saying, what you just said, you give a guy a microwave that has no idea what he's doing, he could blow something up. But here's the sick part. You give a microwave to a guy that knows what he's doing, he still has the ability to blow shit up.
Right.
That's real danger in the knowledge itself, is who possesses it.
Yes. So I think that's why you have these mystery schools and this hidden knowledge, the secret knowledge that is kept from the great unwashed. But it's also kind of put in our faces. I think along the way, there have been helpers, let's say, that have given people access to this, maybe in metaphors and, certain literature and certain things where if you, it's like Q said, the choice to know will be yours. If you want to know, if you want to look into these things, there is an endless supply. I'm telling you, going back from ancient history and in some of these texts, like the Hermetic texts and the Kabbalion and all of that talk about this stuff. And, a lot of it parallels with also what Jesus taught also. So,
I agree. I think one of the most, Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is within. And I know most Christians probably have heard that and they know that, but I feel like that's kind of like most Christians look at it as like this side thing. It's more about the divinity and the resurrection, of course, for them. But that's a very profound and powerful statement, I think, is the kingdom is within. It's within you. And like you said, all these things you can do and even greater things is what he said.
Right. Yeah.
Let's recap real quick, Kate, just so I know I'm on the same page here. So Tartaria, Middle Ages is when we think it kind of got started and could have ended sometime in the 19th century, stretched across possibly, North America from where, the current United States is all the way over to Russia. There are maps you can find, old maps. And then a big mystery is this architecture. And do we believe in this also, in addition to this intricate architecture, that there was also technology connected to these buildings? Like you had mentioned some kind of copper or something up in the top of these. So do we believe that they had some kind of free power that was being broadcast or sent out across this, this land?
Well, when you look, so some of these old there's so much. Like some of these old buildings, the fireplaces actually were not meant to contain fire. So what did these do? And putting fires in them actually destroyed them. They would have these metal back plates in them. So were these ways of heating these giant buildings? I mean, if you think about it, if you're heating things with fireplaces, does it make sense to have 25-foot ceilings anywhere? Especially when people have dirt roads and no toilet paper.
Yeah.
No. So yes, the idea is that they did have free energy, that there were things that they were using to heat and cool and whatever that we still don't really understand.
Well, one of the things.
Yes, somebody Nanoban says radium. Yes, they had these. I think they were called radium apples, and you know.
What was that? The electricity you're saying?
No, it would be in the fireplace. They were like these things. Actually, you can find magazines that, you know, from the time of people sitting in their living rooms and the fireplace, and there's a radium apple hanging in the fireplace.
I see.
Now, Kate, one of the things we were just talking about when you had mentioned, let's just back up 1 minute. God, I lost my train of thought, Matt. I'm so sorry. You were just saying, Kate, about the buildings. You said North America. I'm going to get it back right now. And then you were talking about tying it all together. Okay. Do you not think that what happened, is there a possibility that what happened is during whatever pre-recorded history, there was a massive shift and a total totalitarian regime globally came in and said, nope, it never happened. And if you say it did, you're in trouble.
Well, look at the mental institutions, the vast amount of mental institutions that you had at the time. Again, massive buildings capable of housing hundreds and thousands of people. And why did we need all those insane asylums at the time? Was it, were these the people that were remembering history? I mean, we didn't even scratch the surface into so many different areas, which it goes into mud floods and how a lot of these buildings are buried. I've seen some of that myself. When I was in Belgium, I saw them excavating between these very, very old buildings down about 3 feet. You had old looking stone and windows. Like, tell me why. Like, you could tell me that was like all basement storage, whatever that they created when they created these buildings. Why would there be windows three stories underground?
Right.
So mud floods, it gets into giants, it gets into the orphan trains and repopulating the civilization, the baby incubators that they had in the World's Fairs, the Cabbage Patch Kids, which they were using to repopulate. It gets into so many different things, because the implications of a human reset of this scale, of this magnitude in such modern times.
But remember,
that's what's so mind-blowing about it.
But remember, every point in history has been modern times.
Well, what she's saying is it's so close to us,
right?
We could know people who have passed things down through generations, just through a couple generations, about what life was like.
Well, for the first time, though, Matt, in the last 50 years, let's say 100, really, last 100 years, everything's recorded. It was never recorded before.
Yeah.
And now with the internet, with AI, you're able to just share this information instantly. Where before all of this, if you wanted to learn something about an area, you had to go there.
Of course.
You had to talk to the people that lived there. And when you came back, you didn't have to tell the truth. You didn't.
So, Kate, do we think that it was the downfall of the society, were these mud floods?
A lot of people do believe that. I don't know. I mean, the mud floods don't look like they were. I don't know how they could have wiped out civilizations, because it's not like they were over the tops of buildings. I really don't know. But supposedly they were created by these energy weapons that actually are in symbolically, like if you pull up my thing again, these fasces, which by the way are this thing on the right, this bundle of sticks with the axe thing in it. Lincoln Memorial. Here's Washington with one, on this, I think that's called the Mercury dime. But they're all over the world. They're on currencies. They're in but so, there was a video that I saw, and it looks like it was from the 50s, where this guy is using energy and certain kinds of metals to create a weapon that's essentially like a gun that shoots these things out. I mean, if you look at this thing, does that look like a weapon that is like, you're going to carry a huge bundle of sticks with an axe on it? Like, how the heck would you use that? And, they're supposed to be symbolic of stronger together, or whatever it is, like collectively stronger, which is why this is where we get the word fascism from these fascies. But anyway, there was a video where a guy actually had made a weapon that would shoot these giant rods through something that looked like this, depending on the kinds of materials that you make. And so the idea is that these were actually used to shoot things into the ground, which created a groundswell of the water underneath to come up and bubble up. And that's where those floods came from.
Wow. So do we kind of think that they defeated themselves with their own technology, or was it other people of the time that came in and did away with whatever leaders or leadership that they had in Tartaria?
I don't know. I mean, definitely there's stuff woven in about giants and, potential other races and whatever. And so to tie it back kind of biblically again, and the Nephilim, and there's something about the Nephilim was imprisoned in some place called Tartarus, right? Which is supposed to be underneath Hades. And is that connected? I don't know. I think I think that what the official narrative is that the Mongols of the area in the area of Tartar or Grand Tartary, when they invaded, they were so vicious or whatever that basically they were being called demons from hell, and that's where Tartaria came from, or the name Tartaria came from. So I forgot what the question was, but that's why this is such an interesting rabbit hole. It leads you down all of these different things.
Yeah.
And there really is just so much to it.
Without a doubt.
So there are several narratives about like what they think actually happened, what the downfall of Tartaria was, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there were definitely a lot of fires at the time. Also, they were burning these buildings down. The mud floods, who knows where the population went. That's the great mystery, right? And then these people, I mean, you could in newspapers, you could buy children to come and work on your farms, and they had these orphan trains, and it was like, where were all these orphans coming from?
Right.
And people if you look at old photographs when photography was brand new, and you're seeing these buildings, which by the way already look old. They already look old when we first say them. They were just founded. And then we have dirt roads, and we live in huts, and these people just kind of look like they were plunked down and just are, what am I doing here? It makes absolutely no sense.
No, I agree with you, Kate. And this is so deep, like you're saying, and so much to it. Matt, let's take a minute and we don't do this often, but I want to ask Kate 3 random questions just to find out something. Just to break this up for a second. Kate, here comes 3 random questions. Number 1, what is your favorite food to eat?
French fries or sushi. Yeah.
Those are 2 drastically different. You don't get to elaborate. All right. French fries or sushi. Matt, you got a question?
Build the ultimate concert for you. You can put in 4 artists.
4 bands. Who is it?
Oh, wow. Oh, gosh. The Fray.
It doesn't have to make sense.
Wait a minute. Who's first?
The Fray.
All right. Then I don't care about the other 3. No, I'm kidding.
Now that we know that your taste in music is shitty,
now that you're
probably will all go downhill from that.
Go ahead. Give me another one you like, though.
Shoot, and it could be living or dead.
Yeah, history of music.
Well, Pearl Jam, Metallica.
All right, good.
Led Zeppelin. Actually, I've seen all 3 of those.
Yeah, you've seen Zeppelin, huh?
Well, I've seen bits I saw Robert Plant. I've seen,
yeah.
I thought you were going to tell me you flew over to O2 Arena back in whenever that was.
That was 2000, wasn't it?
I don't know what it was.
No, but my first concert was the Jackson 5.
Really?
No kidding.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome. All right, final question. Celebrity crush. Who is your ultimate celebrity crush? Matt does not count as a celebrity. He's a podcaster, so you can't pick him.
Shoot. Well, thanks for not making it awkward.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have one.
Come on.
I'm not really a crush kind of person. I don't think I have
There's
one.
not an actor, a musician, some celebrity that every time you see him, you go, I like that person.
No.
All right. Good answer. Good answer. All right.
Young Elvis.
Yeah. Young Elvis. I've said it 1,000 times. Young Elvis is the greatest looking man that ever lived.
Hands down. Yes.
Young Elvis / Donald Trump. Right?
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, I get it.
They do look alike.
Hey, we're about an hour and 10, 15. Matt, let's go ahead and put the link up if people want to call into the show. Kate, I got to tell you, I knew you were going to be a great guest. I knew you were going to be very well informed. And I'm really enjoying this show and reading the chat. So is everyone else. I really hope, Kate, that you, once you get settled in what you're going to want to do or going to do, that we're able to watch you a lot. I hope you landed with your own show.
By the way, we've got Kate's Rumble already linked into our description. You can go follow her on Rumble and also her X as well, if you'd like to go follow her there.
So I am starting a show on Mondays now. Monday nights, I'll be doing a show, and it's going to be talking about, like I said, I'm into the goofier conspiracies, the Mandela effects, all of that. And it's going to be called When Are My Socks? And which is just kind of a goofy play on the conspiracy theory that when you turn your dryer on, it creates a vortex that opens timelines, and that's where your socks go.
I'm convinced that lost socks are a secret to human existence, and I haven't figured it out yet.
But like glitches in the matrix and stuff like that. But I'm hoping that it will eventually lead to people sharing their weird experiences with me, which is something that throughout my life, I have been kind of this magnet for this kind of information because I like to talk about these things and I'm so open. Like some of the most straight-laced people I've ever met have the craziest experiences that they talk about. And so I think that stuff is a lot of fun. So that's going to be Monday nights. That's one thing I know I'll be doing.
Very cool.
Did we pinned that chat, right?
It is.
Okay. Yeah. Look at the top of the chat, everybody. If you'd like to come on the show with us right now, if you have a question for Matt and I or Kate. Kate, do you find yourself overall living your life day to day, knowing what you know and experiencing what you've experienced? Would you consider knowing all this? Are you able to still have a happy life?
Yeah, absolutely. For a long time, I just kind of I hid in this community thinking like, okay, well, I found my people because I got absolutely decimated by the outside world. Once I started showing support for Trump, once I started talking about Q, I was being called crazy. I was being called a racist, like by people who actually knew me and knew that those things weren't true. It was just like, there was just, you guys know what it's like.
Yeah.
So I kind of hid in this community, but I think over the last year or so, rejoining the living, rejoining, in real life.
It's become safer for all those things.
There are so many more people awake than I thought.
Yeah.
And there was a time when I literally could not fathom ever engaging in small talk, ever talking about a celebrity again. Like I can't chit chat. I don't want to talk to you about anything if it's not this stuff. But then eventually I decided to kind of dip my toe back in and was pleasantly surprised to see that people were far more awake than I thought that they were. And that I didn't actually have to completely unplug. It's kind of like in the movie, The Matrix, you can only defeat the Matrix while you're in the Matrix. And so while it's good for us to convene in this community and get our strength together and, figure things out together, we still have to go back into the world and communicate with these people and bring them along with us.
Well, I wish that people, and I don't say this to challenge you, Kate, but I wish that very explanation would change, that we have to go back out into the world. We're in the world. I was not. What I mean by that, though, Kate, is that the normie world, as we understand it in here, is one thing. It's a thing, but you are a part of it and you are in it. It's just you're serving a different purpose at this time. Let's go to hair therapy.
Are we done with Tartaria? Because I still had a couple of questions
with the audience as well.
All right.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm doing it now.
Hair therapy, you are on Above the Rabbit Hole. How are you?
Oh my God, I'm so nervous. Anyway,
Nervous.
all right, hang on, just because I jumped on so quick.
Like, how can you be nervous when you're on the surface of the sun? I guess I am too.
Actually, it's so freaking gloomy here. I can't even tell you. We've had so much rain. But I just want to tell Kate too. But you guys are great, of course. You guys are bringing so much crap out here that is so wonderful. I love Greg Braden. I've been on a stroll with Wayne Dyer and Dr. Joe Dispenza for like over 25 years. So for me, for her to talk about the shit she's talking about, we need to really dig deep in what was, because otherwise, if we don't stand in that, people are so afraid of what's going on that they won't be able to handle it. So looking back at my journey now with all my stuff that I've been learning about and going in, and I'll loosely say being psychic and more into mediumship than psychic, but I just think this is what it was preparing me for, because this is what's keeping me calm. Like, Mickey said something about, I feel like giddy because, you hear 17. Well, that's when you find that inner peace, and imagine having that all the time. And Matt, you're talking about the Bible and what it says, and when God went to pray. You're right. I believe, and I always say, this is my perspective. Everyone can believe whatever the hell they want, because that's the beauty of our life. But you're right. He went inside. This is what we need to do. We're losing ourselves because we're looking outside. Kate said the best thing about not having a crush. I used to be so starstruck with the most ridiculous situations. But if I could meet Joe Dispenza or Greg Braden, who freaking is an archaeologist, and find out why the bells have been, hidden from us, oh my God, I would be in heaven, because they're real people. They all looked at us like, woo, you guys brought up psychiatric. Oh my God, now they're making all these retirement homes, nursing homes. They're locking people up. They don't want you to be part of a community. I remember I used to follow years ago for 22 years, John Edward, a psychic medium. And we were very close actually at one time. And I remember him saying, one of his friends said to him, if we were living in a different time, we'd be in those psych wards right now.
Yeah, of course.
That's what Jesus was. He was open. We all have it. Nobody doesn't have this ability. And Kate, you're so cute and you're so beautiful. And I loved Paul on the show. And Mickey, you keep saying the women are in this thing, but Matt actually was the one who said in the beginning of your show that he said weeks ago, he said, no, I think there are more women, because you wanted more women. There are so many amazing women that are.
I agree with you. I just meant.
I know you figured that out, because then we've had other people open up and talk their story. But Matt did say maybe there are more women, and we are. I think there's so many amazing women, and I think they do come across with a different message. But still, in the end, like you guys said, it's all a common denominator. It'll all come back to one, and that's truth. And hopefully, this is where we're heading. Oh my God, I can't believe I said all that. I'm so glad.
Yeah, no, great points. They're all great points.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so looking forward to your show now.
Listen, there are certain silent partners. Have you ever heard of silent partners?
Trust me.
That need to be in the background, because I think there's so many that can be out there. And Kate, like I told you guys about Paula, because you guys are giving her, especially Mickey, like you should have a podcast. I think it's so overwhelming when you've been in this isolated thing researching. Like I've been researching my life. And so for me, sometimes those people need to just kind of be coddled. And you guys are great for that. Like just to bring everyone out and give an opportunity to talk.
Yeah, man. That's what it's about.
Yes. And it all goes back to, who are you? How much can you handle? Don't fear. Fear is an illusion. But unfortunately, we're faced with it. And we've been so brainwashed that even if we think we're confident, there'll be that day that you'll say, fuck, maybe I should take a Tylenol, or maybe I should. No, think about what you want to do to better yourself.
You see, Matt, everybody in this is smarter than us. Every single person.
We knew that coming into this, didn't we?
Listen, we are never, I'm so glad you brought that up. Nobody is ahead of anyone. When I think I know something, Mick, I'm right at the bottom of the list.
No, I get it. But, I understand. And I want to tell you this, when you come on, it's so rewarding as a host of a show to hear your audience come back to you and go, no, we love you, but you're looking at it wrong. Look at it. Like that is what has been so amazing about this journey for me. Anyway, I think you feel the same, Matt.
Yeah, man. To have the support of the viewers in here who are more knowledgeable than us.
Who let you be wrong.
Sure.
And instead of judging you for it, they help you.
But maybe more knowledgeable in one area. But I'll tell you, I feel so stupid. And I don't even want to say that, because that's actually discrediting myself. I don't want to say that, but I feel ignorant in so many things. So I'm so happy when I meet different people on your shows, and I'm thinking, oh my God, because I'm very diplomatic. You have to have an open mind about everything, or guess what? You're not going to last on the journey.
I mean, that's been my philosophy for this show. Is just that I will listen to anybody.
Yeah,
Totally.
I'm going to do it with a critical mind. But
We got a bunch of people on deck here. Thank you so much. You know,
thank
we
you
love
very
you.
much.
You're awesome.
yeah, you are
Have
too.
a great day.
Bye. Thank you. Mwah. Let's go to Adel, our boy Adel.
Adel in
I'm
the house.
so honored he stopped by. What's up, my friend?
Mickey, Matt, what's going on? Kate,
Hey,
good
buddy.
to see you.
Hey,
I'm so
Adel,
sorry
what's
I
going
missed your
on?
show the other day.
Yeah, I was bummed. I was bummed you couldn't make it. I'm glad you're
Yeah.
feeling better, Matt. And Kate, it's great to see you on here. And I love this
you.
topic, man, because this is like how I was red pilled. Was hidden history and things like you mentioned the interaction between consciousness and matter, like waves of potential versus like that. To me, that was one of the most mind-blowing, life-changing discoveries, like going through this, because I was a very materialist, like nihilist mindset before that, and it kind of changed the entire way I look at life. Did you have a similar experience? Like, did you when you start, or like when you started learning all these different things, did it affect the way you went through your day to day?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I mean, everything changes, and you I think that's part of the dark night of the soul portion of it, is that there's so much discomfort in the unfamiliar. Literally, our subconscious registers it as pain. Anything that's unknown is registered as pain, and anything that's known is registered as pleasure, even if it's something that is actually painful. If it's just what it's known, like that's what your subconscious is telling you. So to have everything just kind of fundamentally broken down, that's why, I mean, I really believe in not forcing people into their awakening. They'll get there when they get there, because it is such a traumatic experience sometimes. But yeah, it changed the way that I view everything. I'm a completely different person now than I was in 2017.
Yeah.
Is it a better person?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was awful. I mean, I'm still awful in some ways, but I was really, really awful. I was one of those people that was watching the Real Housewives of whatever the fuck. And, just completely checked
I
out.
missed that edition, the Real Housewives of whatever.
That was the best one.
I
They
never
had the
saw that
spiciest.
one. Yeah, I hope you got that on DVD or something. You can send it to me. I missed that one.
No, but I was living on, antidepressants. I was
Me
just
too.
low key miserable. My life on paper was wonderful, it was beautiful, it was the kind of life that people would want. And I was very, very unhappy. And ironically, it was finding out how much darkness is actually real that healed me. Because I think subconsciously we know it anyway. So it's being able to actually confront it.
Just because we are a show that's on, this is coming through the chat room. Apparently it's reported Pam Bondi has been fired as Attorney General. That's an interesting twist in all of this, especially the timing. I don't want to get into it, Adel, because it'll sidetrack us for the rest of the show. But Kate and Adel, you guys have been in this way longer than Matt and I. But you have had amazing impacts on the community. You guys were there early. Yeah, and Adel, you got a minute?
Yeah, sure.
I'd like to bring on Cornelia with all of us, because Cornelia is one of my favorite humans. And I'll tell you why. She's right there, Matt, if you could bring up Cornelia as well. Hi, Cornelia.
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Now,
How are you?
Hi.
for those of you that don't remember, Cornelia was the first person from the community I ever talked to when I was on Dave and Rambo's live call-in show.
And our very first caller ever.
And our very first caller
Above the
ever
rabbit hole.
here. She's from South Africa originally, currently lives in Germany. And her and her husband, Willie, watch these shows all day, every day in Germany. And it really emotionally moved me to realize that this isn't an American thing. This isn't necessarily a soul Christian thing. This is about an awakening for people around the world.
Yeah,
So,
globally.
Cornelia, whatever questions you have, whatever you wanted to say, I want to give it the chance to say it to everyone. So please, Cornelia, go ahead. What would you like to say?
We were on holiday last week, so we missed everything last week. We went on a ship to Austria and Bulgaria and Slovakia. And in
Wow.
Austria, we saw in one town, we saw buildings with doors lower than my head. We
The
took
door,
pictures of it.
the doors were lower
So
than.
that was buildings with very small doors. And we immediately thought about what we heard. In Slovakia, we went on a day tour, and the guide spoke about Tartaria. And I stopped her and I said, can you tell me more about it? And suddenly, she don't know about it's a fairy tale and things like that. She was so overwhelmed that somebody asked her a question about it.
Yeah,
And
that's
there we saw buildings with doors 2 times my height.
wow.
And so we took pictures of that. That was very interesting. And I thought the moment I can speak to somebody about it. But as you can hear, Mickey, we
Yeah.
got a cold the day when we walked in Budapest. It started raining, so I cannot speak too long. But I don't know whom I'm going to send these pictures to, but I really want to share it to people, this small doors and big doors.
Yeah, please do.
Well, I've been waiting my whole life to find a building with small doors.
So
we were thinking of you.
That's your new homeland.
the Hobbit door.
Yeah, you said Budapest?
She
Was
said
it
Bulgaria.
where the doors were.
In
Slovakia.
in Budapest, the bigger doors, but in Australia there was Austria. I'm sorry, Austria. There was a town that we went to. I can't remember the name of the town now. Was the small doors.
So
Well,
there's
I'm
a
going
guy.
now.
There's
Go
a guy who has a YouTube channel and he's on X and everything. And his show is called My Lunch Break. And he focuses exclusively on these old world buildings. And he'll even go and travel to some of them. But he would be a really great person to send those pictures to.
Yeah, do that.
We had a couple of people suggest that in
Yeah.
our comments. Here,
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Cornelia, you know we love you. Thank you. I'm glad you and Willie had a great trip. We're sorry that you caught a cold, but prayers from all of us.
Yeah,
And
feel
take
better,
care of yourself.
Cornelia.
Thank you.
Thank you
right.
so
Thank
much.
you. Good to speak to you. Until next time.
Bye.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you.
Cornelia.
You know, I don't know about you, Adel, and you, Kate, but when you invite the audience in and you see the sincerity in them and you see that they're taking in the message, to me, it's better than any donation. It's better than any kind of financial reward to know that the things you're talking about are simply being digested by like-minded people. I think it's the greatest gift we can give each other.
It's beautiful.
So, yeah, I mean, I think, you know, Adel, you coming in out of nowhere, you know, it means the world to Matt. No, I'm serious. Like, it means the world to Matt and I, because this is the show we envisioned, where we combined what Matt and I do, the way we do a show, with brilliant minds, and then those listening. And that's how the community, I think, will grow. You can't just have them listening all the time with no voice, and we can't be talking the whole time and not listen. So I really think that is where, I really think that's how we're getting the message out eventually, is the combination of all this. And Kate
Well, we have the great thinkers that have come through on our show. I think.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, and I look at us as like not great but great communicators, right? That's our gift. And you know, like you said, Matt, you bring these brilliant people on, and then the people who are learning from it get a voice as well. I just think it's an amazing concept. The news has never done it. You know, imagine if you're watching the 6 o'clock news and you get to hit a button and go, you know, hey, Sean Hannity, you're full of shit. Like, that's bullshit, and here's why. And then Hannity would actually go, oh, fuck, you got me.
Why do
Yeah.
you think they disable all their live chats on their
Right.
on their YouTube channels? It's because
Yes.
they're avoiding that exact interaction. They want everyone to be passive in the way they you know, interact with information. But I love your approach, guys, because having a conversation like you're having with Kate today, I think, is really important. I think a lot of people get like so tied into like the current news cycle, the
Yeah.
emotion of it, and they lose the bigger picture. And even with the, you know, following Q, you know, Q alluded to a lot of this more esoteric stuff. And I think that there's so much value in it, whether you're talking about, you know, the nature of reality, the hidden history, all this occult knowledge, I think is really, really important and powerful.
Yeah.
You know, Kate mentioned, you know, our consciousness and how it interacts with our reality, and how like that's so important. And there's a reason why they don't want that stuff out there, because if we really did understand our true power, you know, there would be no controlling us. And it's yeah, I love your approach, because you guys go to all kind of different topics, whether it's current stuff or old stuff, but I think it all ties together.
Well,
So,
Adam and Kate both. I mean, I think we all have the same final destination, which is truth. and in that lane, certain people are going to drive faster than others. They're going to see the path faster than others. I'm not trying to get there first. I just want to get there, and I want all the help I can get getting there. Matt, I know, feels the same way. We've talked about this for hours, how even if somebody comes on the show and they tell us something, I have no problem going, hey, buddy, look, you made a great presentation. I'm just not buying it yet. Like, I'm not there. And I think that's a good message to send to people, that everything you hear isn't necessarily facts, but it is curious, and it does spark discussions, which, like Kate has eloquently said, leads to so many other truths. So having difficult conversations, we know this in relationships, whether it's children, lovers, parents. Sometimes you got to sit across the table and go, man, you get on my fucking nerves. I can't stand you right now. I love you, but I don't even want to look at your face. And if love is there, you get through those moments. And I feel like that's what we're experiencing. We're having difficult conversations to make us better with each other.
I think it's an important element too of waking up is the humbling experience to not only find out that you were wrong about, maybe even everything, but to realize that in the current moment, it is almost guaranteed that you still are wrong. And that possibly, my belief is that this planet is not for, I don't think we're ever going to know. I don't think we're ever going to know everything, because I think that is besides the point of the planet in the first place. What would be the fun in that? What would be the challenge if we actually had every bit of truth? I mean, I think we can certainly get a lot closer to it than we are now, but that I don't think that, awakening or truth is actually a destination that we're ever going to approach while we are alive on Earth.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I do agree with the concept of it. I do think humans have the ability to understand things completely. We just have to get to the ability to find those answers.
Okay, so here's a question for you. Do you think that human consciousness is capable of containing the understanding of God?
Yes.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people that would say that human consciousness, our consciousness inside of us, is part of the greater good, the community of God, of what you would call God.
Right, but like, to me, that's kind of like an ant trying to understand a quantum computer. Like our human consciousness is amazing, but if God is this all-encompassing thing, will our consciousness, maybe perhaps at its full potential, but we know that we're only using a very small percentage of our consciousness.
Sure, but it's kind of like the what's the thing where you see a small piece of it and you can see the entire thing? What's the word?
Autism.
Autism.
About fractals.
I know exactly what he's talking about as well.
So anyway, it's a collective consciousness. So we are all a part of that which is God, what some people would consider God.
Yeah, and I think you can take that a step further and call it karma. I think you could take it a step further and call God actual consciousness. So, Kate, to answer your question, do I think humans could understand the full gravity of what God is? Yes, but part of what God is, I believe, is greater than us. That's where I think humans need to really get to, is the fact that some of these things are of a, whatever you want to call it.
A hologram, by the way.
Yeah, hologram. Yeah. But part of these things are just a fraction of our part in it. So I think we can understand God from a human perspective. Could we understand God from a cosmic perspective? I don't know, because we're only in our spot in the cosmos. I heard a guy talk recently saying that he believes the autists will one day look at the sky and realize that it's a code. The stars are actually a map of secrets.
Well, everything is code. Everything is code. And even when you say a word, there is code within that word. There's the consciousness behind it, the feeling, the emotion. That's why everything has its own resonance. Everything has its own vibration. Truth is going to have a different resonance than lies. And so when I think, going back to what you were saying about women and how we were talking about how women are so prevalent in this community, I think potentially it could have something to do with the fact that men are more living in this brain, where women use their other two brains, the heart and the gut, a little bit more, which is a little bit less easy to infiltrate and trick when you're using your intuition and the heart and the gut rather than the brain, because there's been so much poured into manipulating our brains.
Agreed. But if I'm on that point, I think there's another weapon at play here. Now, I shouldn't use the word weapon. Factor. Men desire women differently than women desire men. And I think that gives women ultimately sort of a psychological advantage, because that I believe men know that we desire females in many different ways, sexually, approval, all of it. And I don't think that women have that same desire for men. I don't think women look at men the same way. Right. but my point to you is this, though. Just because we respect and appreciate each other differently, and we both have different ways in which we operate, I think the secret then becomes women understanding their place in men's eyes and men understanding women in a woman's eyes. Don't tell me how I need to be for you 100%. Tell me how I can be me better for you. And at the same time, understand as a woman, this is just who I am. I look at a woman's boobs and there's a feeling in me. I can't explain it. And any man that says it's not true, I worry about. You look at a woman physically, there's a reaction that a man has. And women have it too. Women will compliment a woman's appearance way more than they will compliment a man's appearance. And I think part of that is because it's true. Women are more sexually desirable. They are more passionately good to look at than men. And I think hiding that obvious truth is what separated us, caused feminism, and made men and women start hating each other. That's all I'm saying. Let's just be real about it. And if a woman happens to be brilliant on top of all that, man, that's kind of a jackpot. But let's not lie about what the original synergy is between men and women anymore. I think that's a big problem.
Definitely.
Kate, I'll let you annihilate me if you want based on what I just said.
No, I mean, no annihilation. I agree with you. I think we're different. We were designed to complement each other. We were designed to have different strengths, and that is a beautiful thing. Yeah, really, I'm in agreement with you. I mean, I think, yeah, I don't know.
It's hard. Feel like, it's a hard subject to broach because intellectually, I think women are every bit as intellectual as a man, and sometimes more. But who we are in our core, that resonance you talk about, those frequencies, a woman's body has that effect on a man. It radiates in him. It also radiates in women. The female itself is an energetic force that causes things in men. And sometimes it can make men crazy and out of their minds. But other times it can literally make a man do good. If he knows this woman that he desires is a good woman and all she wants is for him to be a good, honest, loyal man, that can lead to that. And I don't understand why we don't address that part of it.
Women are magic. We know that women are magic. And throughout history, they've known that women are magic. And there are things about women there's really no other way to put it. They're magic. And so, but that's also partially why we have the dynamic that we have. I don't pretend to understand it. I live it and I don't get it, but I do think that if we focus on what our strengths are that complement each other, and how we can bounce off each other, and it's just the way that it was meant to be.
I'm going to tell you something from go ahead, Adel. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's obviously like the harmony between man and woman, masculine and feminine, is when we bring out the best in each other, when that relationship is in a good place, when society has those roles in a good place. And I think, that's God's design, and what has, the controllers of society been doing other than trying to make us a godless society. So they've been subverting that, and they've been, trying to make men more feminine, women more masculine. And that's why you have the turmoil between the sexes right now. Like they're pulling us away from the intelligent design of whatever this is. And you asked a question earlier that I thought was really interesting. You said, is it possible for humans to understand God? Or I think Kate asked that question.
Yeah.
And I look at, human consciousness not as any individual person, but like we have a collective consciousness that ebbs and flows as a global community. And I think that's like what ascension is to raise our collective consciousness to a level to where we can understand more about this reality. And I think that you even you look at, you guys are talking about like ancient civilizations or the pyramids, things like that. We really don't know how long ago those were built, who really built those things. Like, who's to say those aren't ancient civilizations that did ascend? They figured it out. They raised consciousness to a level where they beat the game of Earth. They moved on to something else, and now we're like the next run through the cycle of going through that evolutionary process. This last 12, 13,000 years of civilization, or however long it's been. A lot of people trace it back to like the Younger Dryas period with the cataclysm that took place. If you listen to people like Randall Carlson or Graham Hancock, stuff like that. So there's a lot to this that, there's a lot of unanswered questions that go way, way back, but I think there are clues. And I tie it again back to the idea of the simulation theory kind of mindset, the holographic nature of reality. When you look at things like the double slit experiment and whatnot, how matter is only matter when it's being observed. Time, space, it's all kind of a construct of consciousness. So we're experiencing something through, or our creator is experiencing something through us, I feel like, and it's kind of a game that's played and repeats itself. That's kind of the way I look at it.
It's an amazing thing to consider all around, and it really does have a lot of effect on all of us. But Matt, I know you had some more things about Tartaria that you wanted to.
Yeah, I'll get out of the way, guys. I just wanted
to hang with us if you want, man. I got no issue with that. Go ahead, Matt. Let's get back into this.
I don't remember where we were with Tartaria, but
Kate said basically women should be thanked for everything that ever happened on her.
Basically, but I wanted to say really quick to Adel's point just then about these civilizations that potentially had reached that pinnacle, and that is the story of Atlantis, supposedly. And interestingly enough, they were a female civilization, not in that everyone was female. There were obviously male and female, but in the way that they lived and their intuition, we are a far more masculine society than they were.
Yeah, I would imagine that to be true.
It's kind of interesting. Like, I believe they ascended, but we're kind of told a story like they were punished in a way. Like there was something that came and destroyed them for, I don't know.
The Martians.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
Martians. And if you look at CIA documents, they were remote viewing Mars at a time when Mars was being destroyed, and they were looking for a place to go. And supposedly that's what happened. So Mars as a civilization was far older. They were far more masculine. They were warring people. Atlantis was, love and light and whatever. And the Martians supposedly came to Earth, and they took over this poor little society. And yeah.
I knew I didn't like the Jetsons for a reason, Matt.
There's a pyramid and a face on
Infiltrators.
Mars. I don't know if you've ever seen that. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen the pyramid and the face.
Yeah,
Matt,
it's kinda
you've seen those
interesting.
photos, right?
What is it?
The pyramid and the face of Mars.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Let's get back to Tartaria. So, Kate, when you went through all of it, and it culturally influenced us, and maybe it was all stripped away from it. What do you think, honestly, is the real story here? Like, let's start to wrap it up. If you could, you have to end the discussion. How do you wrap this up? What you think happened overall? I know it's a big question.
That is a huge question. I don't know. And I think part of the reason that I like this theory and this rabbit hole so much is because that is still so open-ended. It's not like, oh, okay, evil came in and they were just being evil, the end. What happened to those people? Did they ascend? Were they killed? I have no idea. I'd like to think that they ascended. But also part of me just feels like,
What do you mean by they ascended?
well, if you reach a certain vibration, you can bypass the need for a physical death. Just like we were, he's talking about the double slit and how matter actually works. Everything is energy. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It just is transmuted. And so, and that's how people can bend spoons with their minds. It's how people could, potentially move bricks and all of that. So I do believe in stuff like that. I don't know really. Did they get to the point of reaching a vibration where they no longer needed physical bodies?
We had that.
I mean, that's another really interesting point too, is that all of these massive buildings, these palaces that existed, that had ornate statues and gargoyles, had no bathrooms. They had plumbing. There were no bathrooms. So why did these people not put bathrooms, even indoor outhouses with holes in the ground, whatever? Why is it because, like, we know that there are people that can get themselves to a level where they are not eating. They are sustaining themselves off of the ether. Now you have to reach a certain vibration to do it. You can't go from eating McDonald's one day to just be like, I'm not going to eat anymore. That's why people starve to death. But if your body reaches a particular vibration, is it possible that you no longer needed to eat? I mean, that's in the Bible too, right? They were sustained by, what is it, manna, when they were traveling through the desert, whatever it was. It was raining down from the sky or whatever. Is it possible that was ether, that this was what people were sustaining themselves on, whatever? Anyway, I think that that's very interesting. So possibly, did these people not require bathrooms because they didn't need to eat, because they were not? That's a 3D vibrational thing.
I hear you. Addo, are you on that same page with that?
Yeah, no, I am. I think that again, we're stuck in a level of vibration that's very low still at this point in humanity. We are. I mean, we're in survival mode. Like, think about it. Like, we really are. It's the lowest form of existence, is just surviving. So many of us are in a situation where you can't even take the time to ask the bigger questions, let alone, with the state of our food supply, especially in this country, the propaganda and the shit that's just shoved in our faces. We're every bit of sustenance that we have, I feel like, is tainted and contaminated spiritually, or with actual physical contaminants to keep our brains. I call it my satellite. I'm tuning into something. It's not happening inside. I'm tuning into something outside of me. It's keeping me in a range of frequencies like this thin. I mean, there's frequencies that are so far much wider. There's so much we can't see that's right in front of us, so much we can't perceive or understand. And I think that's kind of the idea of allowing our minds to expand and to pick up on larger ranges of vibration and frequency, and getting more information. That's kind of the way I look at it. So I do think that we can get to a point where you
can I just say something really fast, because that kind of goes into the artwork and everything that we saw from ancient history, and the depictions of angels and cherubs and centaurs and all of these dragons, all of these different beings that were like, okay, these are mythical creatures. Are they? Or were they things that these people actually saw that were just vibrating in a different frequency, and now we can't see them because we're vibrating too low?
The revolution will not be televised, Matt. Are you familiar with that one? Speaking of revolution, let's bring in a revolter himself.
Rambo.
Revolting.
He's revolting. I'm kidding. What's up, buddy?
Dave's gay and Kate's roast is fire. What's up, guys?
Kate is our DEI hire, Matt. I mean, Joe, that's what we did. Yeah,
Absolutely. Hey,
Hey,
have you guys ever noticed that you look like you have devil horns and Matt looks like he's wearing a halo?
yeah, we notice it every day, Kate.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Fuck me. I'm sorry.
No, I'm waiting. No, here's the thing. Matt, and it comes up in the chat room, and early in the show, I would mess with it. I would like stand perfect, so line it up so I look like the devil, and then other times I'd move over so I just had the point coming out of the top of my head.
It's like a unicorn.
Yeah, it's like whatever. But no, Joe, a lot going on. That speech last night with Trump coming up on your show. I'm sure you're getting into that. Bondi just fired. What are you getting into today, buddy?
Yeah, Bondi. That's funny, right?
You guys got to get into the Artemis 2 pictures out the window.
Look, what we're going to talk about today is actually a really good piggyback on what Kate did with you guys today.
Oh wow!
The unbelievable amount of narrative seeding when it comes to aliens or demons is kind of where I got stuck this morning. Yeah. And so we're going to get deep into what everybody said about it, from Barack Obama to Donald Trump to, everybody, Joe Rogan, everybody's talking about this for a reason. And I got to be honest with you, I'm starting to think like they may be painting a picture for a unifying event.
I'm with you, Joe. With you, buddy.
Kind of where my head's going. So I got tons and tons of, I'm a visual guy. Kate was talking about being visual earlier. I'm a very audio driven dude. So I grabbed as many clips as I possibly could, and holy crap, is there a lot of them. So
good thing I'm not on today. You can get to all of them.
Yeah, right.
Hey, buddy, two things. I'm going to listen to the show today, obviously. And I just want to say thank you for introducing us to Adel and to Kate. And, this is really starting to become the thing that I think we all know it is, which is that bridge is being built.
Dude, that's what this thing's all about. The sayings get cliche after a long time, but I looked up to people like these two for a very long time, and the where we go, when we go all thing really got stuck in not just my head, but my soul. So I love introducing friends to other friends, rising tides, right?
You got it, brother. Hey, man, keep doing what you do. Have a great show today. I'll talk to you later, bro.
Later. See you guys. Good to see you.
Joe,
hey, Mickey.
I love you.
Got him.
Matt, today's show, like before we started, we knew Kate was coming on. We knew very little. We knew basic ideas of Tartaria. So let me ask you, with both of them on, what'd you learn today?
What I learned about Tartaria today?
What do you walk away today thinking differently than when you drove in?
I think I need to go down further rabbit holes with all this.
Yeah.
There's each piece that, and this isn't a fault of Kate's, of course.
Of course.
This subject is just so massive. I think there's a bunch of new rabbit holes to go down and examine all this and figure out about the architecture and figure out what happened to this civilization and figure out who was trying to cover this up and why I think they were covered up. So it's more questions, as it is with a lot of these subjects that we approach on the show, I think.
Yeah, and I think your description of it is spot on, man. It just, every time we get into any subject, you got 1,000 more questions, right? And I think the idea of this show was to just raise questions, right? And then we can keep having these amazing people like Kate, Paula, Adel, Joe, whoever, come back and go further into it. We don't take 3 weeks and go into one subject, because as we're bringing people in, they're going to spread out where they want along the community and settle on the things they're interested in. And if we get enough of them, you get everything covered. Then that community where we go one, where we go all, when somebody comes at you and goes, Tartaria is full of shit, you don't have to know everything. You go, hold on a second. Get Kate on the phone. Kate, tell this guy he's a jackass. Get Adel on the phone. Hey, Adel, tell this guy he's full of shit. And that's where we achieve the message.
Well, if aliens happen like that, baby, that's my time to shine. Bring me in, put me in, coach. I'm ready. Like that. Like I've been kind of waiting for this, low key. By the way, if aliens exist and we're in contact with them, if they wanted us dead, we'd be dead a long time ago.
Question.
So don't fall for it. Like don't.
What's like your view on it? Because there's several different views. You can either look at the aliens, I guess, as something that comes from another part of our universe. Some people look at it as spiritual in nature. Other people look at it as maybe they're from a different dimension.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is your view of the whole thing?
I guess my view would be that they're interdimensional, that potentially maybe they live in our oceans. Maybe they live, I don't know. Are we on a flat earth and is there an ice wall? I don't know. Like, I don't even pretend to want to argue those
time
things.
Travelers, you know, that they're humans from the future that have evolved and they're coming back.
Yeah, I mean that's interesting because I mean especially like small grays, because if you did put a human being in outer space for for centuries
or underground,
then they would develop larger eyes, gray skin, they would lose their hair, all the things. So but I don't know. I mean, I think that there are so many different variations. We're focused on the little green men and the tall grays and whatever, but there are so many potentially variations. I don't know where they come from, but I believe they're real. I know that a lot of people believe that they are just like blanket term. They are just all demons. I don't know if I believe that. I think that they are, what are they? Non-human biologics. They are just beings, and just like human beings, there are probably good ones and there are probably bad ones. And so, yeah,
that's kind of my feeling too, is there could be a variety of these things. There could be people who, other beings that have lived on this earth, like you said, under the ocean, underground, that we didn't know about, among us, even possibly. You talk about all these shape-shifting people, that people have stories of that kind of thing. And then you've got the interdimensional aspect. Could they come from the far stretches of our planet? Yes, too. I think it could be a variety of different things.
And you can't judge them based on how they look either, because I mean, look how the Bible describes angels. Like the actual physical description of an angel, it sounds absolutely terrifying. It's not some beautiful woman with wings. It's like eyes and.
Yeah, I mean, and everything came from the sky in the Bible. Everything came from the sky. Mm-hmm. Demons, angels, ships, dragons, it all just landed here from the sky. And that's why I always argue the metaphors and the analogies are way more important than the direct message and words that were written 4,000 years ago. That's all I've ever said about it. All right, Kate, hold on. Adel, I'm going to let you jump, brother. Where do people find you? 4112 Productions on Rumble. Where are you on Pilled, my friend?
412 Productions everywhere, but Twitter. On Twitter, I'm 412 Anon 87. If you want to give me a follow over there. Always a pleasure talking to you guys, Mickey and Matt. Kate, I think it's the first time we've actually been on air together. So nice to meet you. And yep.
Look what we're doing, Matt. We're putting minds together.
And Adel, sorry, I hope I get to do a rain check with you at some point in the future, man. Would love to do your show one day.
Yeah. We'll have you guys both on sometime in probably sometime in April. We'll get you on.
Sounds great, brother. Talk to you. What do you got today? You got tomorrow's show, or you got one
tomorrow? Today? Tomorrow I'm on with Belushi. Today I'm on with my buddy Frankie Val of the Quite Frankly Show, and cool. Red Pill 78. We do a Thursday show.
Awesome, brother. Good luck. Talk soon, bro.
All right, see you guys.
Thanks, buddy. I love that. I love that dude.
Me too.
Man, that guy is.
Oh, yeah, he's a sweetheart.
Are you talking to your child or a pet, Kate?
No, I was talking about Adel. I said, yeah, he's a sweetheart. But then my chapstick lid flew off.
By the way, that happens a lot at the great debates in like Cambridge and Harvard, where somebody drops their chapstick mid-debate.
Listen, I can't debate without reapplying at least 5 times. So.
Well, Kate, Matt, do you want to take this last call here? I feel bad leaving somebody hanging.
What do we have? We have a minute to get out of here.
Yeah, just let them say hi, and then we'll wrap the show up. I just feel bad.
This is Texas Lady. Hey, welcome to the Above the Rabbit Hole. Oh, we can't hear you.
No, Mike. You turn your mic
on. There you go.
I'll be really quick. Kate, I've never never heard anything funnier. I mean, ever in my whole life. That roast of Patrick was off the charts. I met y'all very, very briefly, and Kate, I met you very briefly because I was only there for like 3 hours. You are so warm and.
Oh, we lost your audio again. We lost
her audio. Kate, she loves you.
Wait, can you read lips? She says.
Hold on. I had a great time. Kate's awesome. Mickey's a jackass. I hate his voice. Hate it. Every time he speaks, I want to kill somebody. Yeah, we can't hear you, honey. I'm sorry. But I know I love Kate. And don't listen to Mickey, Matt. You do whatever you want. All right, let's not do this to her.
Thank you for calling, Texas lady. We love you.
We love you,
Thanks
baby.
for the support.
So sorry. Kate, you were absolute dream on the show today. I hope we can have you back, dig further into Tartaria and more of the stuff you know. And we look forward to developing a great friendship over time.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. This was so much fun.
Appreciate you, Kate. Thank you.
We have all her details in the...
We do. So if you go to our description right now on Rumble, you can go and find Kate's Rumble page, follow her there, and then also follow her on X if you're not already following her.
You got it. Kate, be good. Talk soon, guys.
Thanks, Kate. Right.
Bye, hon. Bye. She's great, Matt. Kate's awesome, dude. Yeah. I could sit there and talk with her for hours. You know, Adel, same way. I could just talk for hours about random shit.
Absolutely.
And that's thing.
Why we do what we do.
Dude. And you know what? I mean, the thing that I love today, it wasn't like tons of like photos and videos and look at that. It was just more about the philosophical understanding of our own history, which I think is great.
It's fascinating. Like I said, I've got way more rabbit holes to go down with this, I think.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to be spending a little time down lower. Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
That just sounds funny.
Are we doing a raid?
Spend a lot of time down lower. Yeah, of course we're going to raid. They're already, I'm sure he's playing the intro. Let's see if Matt gets it right. Good show today, buddy.
First time. You ready?
This could make 6 in a row.
6 in a row.
Let's see it.
Boom.
Dude.
There you go, buddy.
You have matured so much, Matt.
Before we go,
yeah,
we'll be back tomorrow, 12 noon East. This is going to be the show that should have happened last week.
The reaction show.
Our React 10.
Yep. And I got some good stuff in there too for you.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun, buddy. Great job.
12 noon East. And we'll see you guys tomorrow just for a fun day of laughter.
Oh, do we want to thank the money people? I never thanked
money people.
I never thanked one donation today.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Let me see if I can find all these. I'm so sorry, everyone. Okay. Double L, of course. I missed everyone yesterday and missed my Q-tard Hammerjack jokes get together. Happy Good Friday. Happy Good Friday. Today's Thursday, right?
It is.
I'm going to read that again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Rambo and Friends, $5. Dave is gay and Kate's roast was fire. From one judgmental prick to another Rambo rant, $5. You should show better, you big gays. Nighthawk 62, $17. My lunch break on X and Rumble dedicated to Tartaria. It's Brittany Renee told my bankruptcy lawyer this morning, or this is tithing. That's funny. Peace and love. Bobby 1960. Are you guys starting to get close to going down the Cliff High rabbit hole? Kazarian Mafia.
I think
we've been in it. Yeah. His videos are in Twitch and recent stuff on Substack. I asked Jesus, this is from Trisha. I asked Jesus to show me the truth, and he showed me the evil of the world and rabbit holes. The next time I asked him to show me the truth, he said, I am the truth. I believe that. I think I have one more, Matt, just to be sure. Here it is. This is a $3 rant. Smay 60s. Been hanging with Truther 6 years. Sad to see the division when we are in this all together. No matter the view, they're all against the DS. Let us come together, then sue one another. That's their way. Yeah, there's a lot of messages here, Matt. But
are these all rants?
That's it. We're done. Thank you to everyone. Matt, great show, buddy.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 12 noon East. We're going to raid Rambo show now. And we'll get you an outro here for anybody hanging on with us.
You did it, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm so proud.
First try every time now.
Now you just hit the outro button.
What would I do without you, man?
There you go, buddy.
What would I do without you, man?
Be happy.
Is it time for the outro button, Mick?
Hit it.
Okay, bye.